Alright, which phone should you take to your next concert? We have the new Oppo Find X9 Pro, Vivo X300 Pro, the almost 1-year-old Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and the iPhone 17 Pro Max. We're actually zooming all the way in up to 20 times from great distance, and we'll be telling you which phone actually took which video later on in this video, so make sure you won't be missing that out. Hey everyone, Ray here. So this is not a voiceover done by AI, and every verdict we'll be making today will be based on my personal experience with all these devices. So naturally, all eyes in this video will be on the two latest camera-focused flagships. We have the Vivo X300 Pro with a massive camera array, and the Oppo Find X9 Pro with a slightly more subtle design, but also packing a 200 megapixels telephoto camera sensor. In the meantime, we'll also be including the popular choices from the two major smartphone manufacturers, the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. So we'll be putting all four to the test in this ultimate shootout. And we'll definitely be doing this again next year when the S26 Ultra is out. Without further ado, let's dive right in. And you're right, the main focus of this video is definitely camera shootout and comparison, so the design and the ergonomics doesn't matter that much, or does it? As we're looking at these ultra-thin bezels measured at 1.1mm thin on both the Oppo Find X9 Pro and the Vivo X300 Pro, and they're indeed incredibly thin in my eyes. Now, both the Oppo and the Vivo boast a 6.78-inch display, which is quite large. But to be fair, they are not as huge as the 6.9 inches display on the iPhone or the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Handling these two devices, particularly the S25 Ultra with its boxier design, combined with its narrow bezel 6.9 inches massive display, give the impression of a maximized screen on a more angular form. What's particularly impressive though is the build quality and the feeling in hand. As you're right, we are still getting a titanium alloy metal frame on the S25 Ultra, with a smooth frosted glass back. You know, among these four phones, I do prefer the more refined and sleek look on the Galaxy. Well, don't get me wrong, I do appreciate Apple's bold choice of colors on the iPhone this year. While it comes with more pronounced curves and rounded corners on the edges, it all contributes to the smoother touch in hand on the iPhone here. And there's just one more thing on the build quality. We have this sort of anti-reflective coating on the display on the iPhone. However, the one on the S25 Ultra is actually apparently slightly more effective, while Vivo and Oppo just simply doesn't have that yet. So this anti-glare coating is actually more noticeable in complex lighting or when you're at an outdoor event. Oh, and speaking of outdoor, we have IP68 and IP69 water industry systems rating on the Vivo and the Oppo. While on the Galaxy and the iPhone, we also have IP68 there. And ultrasonic fingerprint sensor can also be found on the Galaxy, the Vivo and the Oppo, while you'll still be relying on Face ID on the iPhone. And just one last hardware detail that's worth mentioning. In terms of battery capacity, we have a whopping 6500 mAh battery on the Vivo, and an even more massive 7500 mAh battery on the Oppo Find X9 Pro. We will definitely be doing our tests on these four phones in our next video. Moving on to the real highlight of this video, the camera setup. They are more camera focused than ever. That's especially true when we are looking at the Vivo X300 Pro with that massive camera array. It now features a new Sony LYT-828 main sensor, which is measured at 1/1.28 inches. And this is the exciting bit, the 85mm APO lens co-developed with Zeiss. With the aid of the T-Star coating that's available on all three lenses, you should be expecting really great light refraction control and chromatic aberration suppression. Well, this year they're actually partnering with Samsung for this highly customized HPB sensor that's 1/1.4 inch and 200 megapixels for their new telephoto camera system. Well, here on the Oppo, they've made significant improvements over the telephoto camera sensor this year as well, as we're looking at a 200 megapixels Samsung's 1/1.56-inch sensor, looking through a 70mm lens here. So this is how they compare to each other using Ultra HD, high-res mode, whatever they're calling it. Now on the Samsung, they're actually implementing it on the main camera. So in real-life photography, this approach on the Galaxy actually allows a wider field of view at the very first place. I do agree this could be giving us more flexibility for framing during editing in post. And you'll definitely notice the extra megapixels count translate to more better detail preservation here on the Galaxy using full resolution mode, compared to the 48 or 50 megapixels sensor on the Vivo, Oppo and the iPhone. Now, when it comes to the telephoto lens, you might have been expecting similar results, that the higher the megapixels count, the more details you will get in the end, right? We should be looking at minimal algorithm or AI processing using the full megapixels export. Now, it's worth mentioning that the telephoto lens here on the Oppo Find X9 Pro is based on a 70mm lens, while the one here on the Vivo X300 Pro is based on the longer focal length, which is 85mm. And now here on the S25 Ultra, despite the sensor itself is based on 50 megapixels compared to 200 on the Vivo and the Oppo, the optics here in the meantime got the edge with 115mm, and on the iPhone you've got the 100mm telephoto lens there. So at their native focal length and full resolution, the crown goes to the Vivo X300 Pro. Congratulations! While the almost 1-year-old S25 Ultra and the iPhone come in a very close second. Alright, so now, moment of truth. Which phone's actually performing the best in super long range zoom? In this case, we're zooming all the way in to 30x. The photo here on the second right is taken with the Vivo X300 Pro, seems to be the sharpest at a glance. At the same time, if we look close enough, the one shot on the S25 Ultra and the Oppo Find X9 Pro seems to be more realistic in the texture. It seems to me that Vivo's utilizing algorithms to further enhance image quality on the telephoto camera. What do you think? Comments below. In my opinion, Vivo's image processing generally delivers images that are sharper to look at, more saturated, generally perceived to be cleaner with less noise. At 100 times zoom, here on the Vivo X300 Pro, even without the teleconverter, you will be able to read almost every text on the image. But that algorithm definitely hurts the texture of the images. But well, do you prefer more texture at 100 times, or you can read the text from afar? That's a genuine question I'm asking. As you can see right here, 100 times zoom's actually zooming all the way in from here. They can all honestly see what my eyes couldn't. Now let's go back to a more reasonable comparison here. So this time around we'll be zooming in to 20 times from afar. The challenging bit in this scenario is that it's a photo taken at night with limited light source, and there's great contrast between the highlights and shadows in the frame. In this case, you will be getting a sharper image of the Vivo, but that also comes with a slightly more processed look. The iPhone in the meantime delivered arguably the most natural look, but that also comes with the most amount of digital noise, and the image in general is softer. And last but not least, the Samsung and the Oppo sit somewhere in between. They look sharp, but not as sharp as the Vivo. Again, which look do you prefer the most, as we've come up with a pretty similar conclusion, even when it comes to concert videography in low light. I know you could be sitting even further away from the stage, but here we've got all four of them shooting the same stage from the same distance. Again, the Vivo took the sharpest video across the board, while in terms of the actual level of details, it's almost indistinguishable across the Samsung, the Vivo and the Oppo. The video here and the photos taken with the iPhone might look a little bit softer, but that could also depend on personal taste as well, as that definitely look the least processed here. But my personal pick here would be the Samsung. Color reproduction and the sharpness of the image in general, with a little bit of help of the algorithm, it definitely look sharper than the one taken with the iPhone, but not overly sharpened. However, there's one more thing. If you're looking for the absolute sharpest photos and videos, as well as the teleconverter zooming capabilities, the Vivo and the Oppo won't let you down this year for sure. Now, what about portrait photography? Now let's dive right into the most challenging scene possible. In a moment, I'll be standing between the phone and the observation wheel. Most phones out there from a couple of years ago will just simply ignore the highlights on the background. But that's not the case here, especially on the Vivo and the Oppo. They did a really great job in bringing out all the details from the shadows. While the Samsung's doing a really great job as well here, bringing out the details in the shadows, but the noise isn't properly processed here. Well, on the iPhone, you will still be getting the lens flare issue here. It's not showing as much detail and colors on the shadows as the Samsung, Vivo and Oppo as well. Now let's get a little bit of help of a flashlight across these 4 phones at night. Alright, so the first set of photos here was shot on the main camera using 1x zoom. The Vivo gives photos that are sharper to look at and brighter as well. Color saturation also seems to be the highest on the photo taken with the Vivo. While the accuracy of edge detection, they look pretty much the same here. Alright, so this time around it's a photo taken with 2x zoom, around 50mm across all these 4 phones. You will be getting higher contrast on a photo taken with a Vivo, and that also comes with higher color saturation as well. The key is the image processing here on the Vivo and the Oppo definitely helped bringing out all the details from the shadows while suppressing the highlight, bringing out all the details there as well. And if you intend to pick one, Vivo's definitely more aggressive when it comes to noise reduction, color reproduction and HDR processing in a good way. We'll be coming back to this in a minute. But here, as you can see, the image taken with the iPhone definitely looked more natural, if I may say so, but you will also be dealing with more noise in general. Right, apart from portrait photography, the real differences in low-light photography will definitely emerge when you zoom into the details. In night photography, the Vivo X300 Pro generally tends to boost color saturation more aggressively. Again, it could be in a good way, resulting in slightly cooler tones. And now look, even the black sky area have been turned into this sort of cool bluish tone. And I think it's fair to say that in terms of color rendering and reproduction, it's purely based on personal taste again. However, when it comes to recovering all the highlights details and bringing out details from the shadows, the image processing here on the Vivo X300 Pro definitely prioritizes enhancing the sharpness of the image. While the algorithm is obviously more pronounced here, though it definitely boosts the overall brightness of the image and produces richer colors, and this type of image style will definitely appeal to some users, maybe most users, especially for casual photographers. It has the ability to turn every challenging scene to a beautiful, engaging photo to look at. Now, the iPhone and the Samsung deliver results that are more accurate and arguably more true to life. The iPhone could be delivering the most accurate true to life colors, and Samsung ever so slightly elevated the colors and the brightness of the photos. And last but not least, Oppo's Find X9 Pro also focuses on preserving the original colors, but that also comes with slightly enhanced color saturation and contrast. Alright, the final test to have here today, the selfie camera. We actually have the widest lens here on the iPhone at 19mm, 20 on the Vivo, 21 on the Oppo and 25 on the Samsung. The main difference here, however, is that the iPhone utilizes a 1x1 square sensor for the selfie camera, so it now can shoot horizontal photos and videos while holding it vertically without sacrificing resolution and quality at all. While speaking of standout feature, here on the Vivo, it allows us to swap the bokeh effects generated by the portrait mode. You have your biota, B-speed, cineflare, distagon and cinematic. Right, and when it comes to night photography, here are some sample shots taken with the Vivo X300 Pro. The key is, here on the Vivo's phone, its night mode actually works with its film simulation pack and a few extra color profiles as well. Oh, and there's one more feature that we need to highlight here on the Vivo, the AI-enhanced portrait mode. So that's essentially a blend, a hybrid of AI and reality. The good thing about this is you can always transform a cloudy day into this sort of sunset, autumn sunset with golden leaves. Now, I'm not sure if it's still photography. I did took the photo, but then AI enhanced it, actually transformed it. It's also interesting to see Vivo actually baked AI eraser directly into this AI portrait mode. So then you can actually transform the season, the lighting, and erase all the passerby all at once. without all the hassle in post. At the end of the day, if you're worried about the originality of your photo, you can always turn that off. In my opinion, it could be one of the directions of smartphone photography, especially when you're talking about selfie portrait and portrait photography in general. Moving on to the Oppo, you have all your color profiles here co-engineered with Hasselblad. The good thing about Oppo's color science is that you can add another layer of different glow effects on top of your photo with the Hasselblad colors as well. So in terms of special features, it's almost identical to last year's model, which is not necessarily a bad thing at all. And finally, on the iPhone here, you have your photographic style, and on the Samsung, you have a similar color filter option as well. What's different here is that you can create your own filter based on another image that you've taken on another camera. Right, to wrap things up, we've tested features including super long-range zoom, low light and portrait photography. We've also pushed them to their limits. Now, if you prefer a camera phone that's easy to use with all sorts of AI features for photography, the Vivo's definitely got you covered. And it actually performs well in various conditions, including night scenes with challenging lighting scenarios. Now, the Oppo Find X9 Pro has almost got the identically impressive telephoto zoom capabilities. Now, it truly depends on your personal preference when it comes to color science and noise reduction effect between the Vivo and the Oppo Find X9 Pro. On the contrary, for professional photographers and especially videographers, now the iPhone still excels in ProRes RAW and ProRes Log for all sorts of post-editing and color grading. And on the Samsung side, I do believe it's striking a balance between the iPhone and the Vivo and Oppo. Despite it's now almost 1 year old, it still excels in super long-range zoom, while its portrait and color processing as well as noise reduction, it could still be the golden balance between the two worlds for some people. The algorithm's definitely there, but it's not extra. Right, so photography is definitely one of the key features of these four phones here, but the battery life, processor performance and AI features will definitely be covering those up in our next video, so don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.